My God, he whispered. Oh my God. I had to make you lose your temper to show you, Gisbilla said. What's it mean, Giz? Did Baker goof the job? I don't think so. I think you've got scars under the skin, Gully. From the original tattooing, and then from the bleaching. Needle scars. They don't show normally, but they do show blood red when your emotions take over and your heart begins pumping blood. When you're furious or frightened or passionate or possessed. Do you understand? He shook his head, still staring at his face, touching it in bewilderment. You said you wish you could carry me in your pocket to stick pins in you when you lose control. You've got something better than that, Gully. Or worse, poor darling. You've got your face. No, he said. No. You can't ever lose control, Gully. You'll never be able to drink too much, eat too much, love too much, hate too much. You have to hold yourself with an iron grip. No, he insisted desperately. It can be fixed. Baker can do it, or somebody else. I can't walk around afraid to feel anything because it'll turn me into a freak. I don't think this can be fixed, Gully. Skin graft. No, the scars are too deep for graft. You'll never get rid of this stigmata, Gully. You have to learn to live with it. Foyle flung the mirror from him in sudden rage, and again the blood-red mask flared up under his skin. He lunged out of the main cabin to the main hatch, where he pulled his spacesuit down and began to squirm into it. Gully, where are you going? What are you doing? Get tools, he shouted. Tools for the safe. Where? In the asteroid. They got dozens of warehouses stuffed with tools from wrecked ships. There has to be drills there, everything I'll need. Don't come with me. There may be trouble. How is my goddamn face now? Showing it? By Christ, I hope there is trouble. He corked his suit and went into the asteroid. He found a hatch separating the habitated core from the outer void. He banged on the door. He waited and banged again and continued the imperious summons until at last the hatch was open. Arms reached out and yanked him in, and the hatch was closed behind him. It had no airlock. He blinked in the light and scowled, and Joseph and his innocent people gathered before him, their faces hideously decorated. And he knew that his own face must be flaming red and white, for he saw Joseph start, and he saw the devil mouth shape the syllables. Nomad. Foyle strode through the crowd, scattering them abruptly. He smashed Joseph with a backhand blow from his mailed fist. He searched through the inhabited corridors, recognizing them dimly, and he came at last to the chamber, half natural cave, half antique hole, where the tools were stored. He rooted and ferreted, gathering up drills, diamond bits, acids, thermites, crystallines, dynamite jellies, fuses. In the gently revolving asteroid, the gross weight of the equipment was reduced to less than 100 pounds. He lumped it into a mass, roughly bound it together with cable, and started out of the store cave. Joseph and his scientific people were waiting for him like fleas waiting for a wolf. They darted at him, and he battered through them, harried, delighted, savage. The armor of his suit protected him from their attacks, and he went down the passage, searching for a hatch that would lead out into the void. Gisbella's voice came to him, tinny on the earphones, and agitated. Gully, can you hear me? This is Giz. Gully, listen to me. Go ahead. Another ship came up 2 minutes ago. It's drifting on the other side of the asteroid. What? It's marked with yellow and black colors, like a hornet. Dagenham's colors. Then we've been followed. What else? Dagenham's been telling me ever since we busted out of Godfrey Martell. I was a fool not to think of it. How'd he tell me, Giz? Through you? Gully! Forget it. Just practicing jokes. He laughed without amusement. We've got to work fast, Giz. Cork up in a suit and meet me aboard Nomad. The purser's room. Go, gal. But Gully... Sign off. They may be monitoring our waypoint. Go! He drove through the asteroid, reached a barred hatch, broke through the guard before it, smashed it open, and went into the void of the outer passage. The scientific people were too desperate getting the hatch closed to stop him. But he knew they would follow him. They were raging. He hauled the bulk of his equipment through twists and turns to the wreck of the Nomad. Gisbella was waiting for him in the purser's room. She made a move to turn on her microwave set, and Foyle stopped her. He placed his helmet against hers and shouted, "No shortwave. They'll be monitoring, and they'll catch us by DF. You can hear me like this, can't you?" She nodded. "All right. We got maybe an hour before Dagenham locates us. We got maybe an hour before Joseph and his mob come after us. We're in a hell of a jam. We gotta work fast." She nodded again. "No time to open the safe and transport the bullion." "If it's there." "Dagenham's here, isn't he? That's proof it's there. We'll have to cut the whole safe out of Nomad and get it into the Weekender. Then we blast. But just listen to me and do what I say. Go back to the Weekender. Empty it out. Jettison everything we don't need. All supplies except emergency rations." "Why?" "Because I don't know how many tons this safe weighs, and the ship may not be able to handle it when we come back to gravity. We gotta make allowances in the advance. It'll make a tough trip back. But it's worth it. Strip the ship. Fast. Go, girl. Go!" He pushed her away, and without another glance in her direction, attacked the safe. It was built into the structural steel of the hull, a massive steel ball some 4 feet in diameter. It was welded to the stakes and ribs of the Nomad at 12 different spots. Foyle attacked each weld in turn with acids, drills, thermites, and refrigerants. He was operating on the theory of structural strain, to heat, freeze, and etch the steel until its crystalline structure was distorted and its physical strength destroyed. He was fatiguing the metal. Gisbella returned, and he realized that 45 minutes had passed. He was dripping and shaking, but the globe of the safe hung free of the hull, with a dozen rough knobs protruding from its surface. Foyle motioned urgently to Gisbella, and she strained her weight against the safe with him. They could not budge its mass together. As they sank back in exhaustion and despair, a quick shadow eclipsed the sunlight pouring through the rents in the Nomad hull. They stared up. A spaceship was circling the asteroid less than a quarter of a mile off. Foyle placed his helmet against Gisbella's. "Dagenham," he gasped. "Looking for us. Probably got a crew down here coming for us, too. As soon as they talk to Joseph, they'll be here." "Oh, Gully." "We still got a chance. Maybe they won't spot Sam's Weekender until they made a couple of revolutions. It's hidden in that crater. Maybe we can get the safe aboard in the meantime." "How, Gully?" "I don't know, damn it! I don't know." He pounded his fists together in frustration. "I'm finished." "Couldn't we blast it out?" "Blast? What, bombs instead of brains? Is this Mental McQueen speaking?" "Listen, blast it with something explosive. That would act like a rocket jet. Give it a thrust." "Yes, I got that, but then what? How do we get into the ship, girl? Can't keep on blasting, haven't got time." "No, we bring the ship to the safe." "What?" "Blast the safe straight out into space. Then bring the ship around and let the safe sail straight into the main hatch. Like catching a ball in your hand. See?" He saw. "By God, Jizz, we can do it." Foyle leapt to the pile of equipment and began sorting out sticks of dynamite gelatin, fuses, and caps. "We'll have to use shortwave. One of us stays with the safe. One of us pilots the ship. Man with the safe talks the man with the ship into position. Right?" "Right. You better pilot, Gully. I'll do the talking." He nodded, fixing explosives to the face of the safe, attaching caps and fuses. Then he placed his helmet against hers. "Vacuum fuses, Jizz. Time for 2 minutes. When I give the word about shortwave, just pull off the fuse heads and get the hell out of the way. Right?" "Right." "Stay with the safe. Once you've talked it in the ship, come right after me. Don't wait for anything. It's gonna be close." He thumped her shoulder and returned to the Weekender. He left the outer hatch open and the inner door of the airlock as well. The ship's air emptied out immediately. Airless and stripped by Gisbella, it looked dismal and forlorn. Foyle went directly to the controls, sat down, and switched on his microwave set. "Stand by," he muttered. "I'm coming out now." He ignited the jets, blew the laterals for 3 seconds, and then the forwards. The Weekender lifted easily, shaking debris from her back and sides like a whale surfacing. As she slid up and back, Foyle called, "Dynamite, Jizz! Now!" There was no blast. There was no flash. A new crater opened up in the asteroid below him, and a flower of rubble sprang upward, rapidly outdistancing a dull steel ball that followed leisurely, turning in a weary spin. "Ease off!" Gisbella's voice came cold and competent over the earphones. "You're backing too fast." And, incidentally, troubles arrived. He braked with the rear jets, looking down in alarm. The surface of the asteroid was covered with a swarm of hornets. They were Dagenham's crew in yellow and black banded suits. They were buzzing around a single figure in white that dodged and spun and eluded them. It was Gisbella. "Steady as you go," Giz said quietly, although he could hear how hard she was breathing. "Ease off a little more. Roll a quarter turn." He obeyed her almost automatically, still watching the struggle below. The flank of the Weekender cut off any view of the trajectory of the safe as it approached him, but he could still see Gisbella's and Dagenham's men. She ignited her suit rocket. He could see the tiny spurt of flame shoot out from her back, and came sailing up from the surface of the asteroid. A score of flames burst out from the backs of Dagenham's men as they followed. Half a dozen dropped the pursuit of Gisbella and came up after the Weekender. "It's going to be close, Gully." Gisbella was gasping now, but her voice was still steady. "Dagenham's ship came down from the other side, but they probably signaled him, and he'll be on his way. Hold your position, Gully. About 10 seconds now." The hornets closed in and engulfed the tiny white figure. "Foil! Can you hear me, Foil?" Dagenham's voice came in fuzzily and finally cleared. "This is Dagenham calling on your band. Come in, Foil." Jiz, can you get clear of them?" "Hold your position, Gully." "There she goes! It's a hole-in-one, son!" A crushing shock racked the Weekender as the safe moved slowly, but massively rammed into the main hatch. At the same moment, the white-suited figure broke out of the cluster of yellow wasp. It came rocketing up to the Weekender, hotly pursued. "Come on, Jiz, come on," Foil howled. "Come on, girl, come." As Gisbella disappeared from sight behind the flank of the Weekender, Foil set controls and prepared for top acceleration. "Foil, will you answer me? This is Dagenham speaking." "To hell with you, Dagenham," Foil shouted. "Give me the word when you're aboard, Jiz, and I'll hold on." "I can't make it, Gully." "Come on, girl." "I can't get aboard. The safe's blocking the hatch. It's wedged in halfway." "Jiz." "There's no way, I tell you," she cried in despair. "I'm blocked out." He stared around wildly. Dagenham's men were boarding the hull of the Weekender with the menacing purpose of professional raiders. Dagenham's ship was lifting over the brief horizon of the asteroid on a dead course for him. His head began to swim. "Foil, you're finished. You and the girl. But I'll offer a deal." "Gully, help me. Do something, Gully. I'm lost." "Volga," he said in a strangled voice. He closed his eyes and tripped the controls. The tail jets roared. The Weekender shook and shuddered forward. It broke free of Dagenham's borders, of Gisbella, of warnings and pleas. It pressed Foil back into the pilot's chair with a blackout of 10G acceleration. An acceleration that was less pressing, less painful, less treacherous than the passion that drove him. And as he passed from sight, there rose up on his face the blood-red stigmata of his possession.